Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016, maybe July 6th in some parts of the world. In any case, where I am, it's still July 5th. And once again, we're ready to do a lively night of who knows what here. And I'm starting off with a picture of my literal desktop here, and here's me. Hi. And this is my this is the new device that is to conquer global wars and be the instrument for world peace. Okay, this is a peace gun. It's a GANS gun, you might say. So we'll talk about that a little more in a couple minutes here, I guess. And we also have Lee Coates with, I'll give you a teaser on his unit here. It looks like it could be glowing and ready to take off, or at least glow in the dark. But he says it's special lighting, whatever that means. Okay, so let me get briefly back to my world peace gun here, and show you a little bit about the concept behind this. So the idea is that this is a special gun. It's got a fan inside this part here. When you pull the trigger, you can see the fan goes around. And it lights up too. Isn't that cool? So that's two cool things right there. It's got a fan and it lights up just with moderate pressure of the trigger. But what's really cool is it's got a little hose inside this bottle that's detachable, and it's full of bubble fluid. And so what can happen is, watch this. Yeah, so we have this concept of, if you have a war out in the world, you cover it with GANS bubbles. You put GANS in your solution, and you're creating these microfilms of GANS with CO2 GANS vapor at the same time inside the bubbles, right? So you have your GANS vapor, your GANS water, or plasma water, and plasma vapor as it's known as, and you go out into the battlefield and just start bubbling everything. And you carpet bomb the place with GANS water and GANS vapor, plasma water, plasma vapor essentially. And so that wherever everybody is totally covered in this peaceful substance that seems to create goodwill and peace among people in the world. So how the heck are people going to be able to shoot guns when they feel good and they just want to get together with their buddies and play cards or something? I think this is the solution, so to speak. It's literally a solution in here, but it's a solution for world peace. It's a peace gun. And I think all guns should be converted to peace guns and just have bubbles coming out the end. And the most harm it could do is it could get in your eyes, and it could be a little painful. But hey, that makes your sight off for trying to shoot. If you're trying to shoot a real gun, oh gee, that's too bad. Well, you know, I think it really works in both ways that way.
Good chemical warfare.
There you go. It's anti-chemical warfare in a way, because it cleans up the site where radiation might be from bullets, you know, the various radioactive tipped bullets they have, and other substances, the chemical weapons and that kind of thing could all actually be cleaned up with bubbling a whole area. You can see how, for example, on the desktop you can actually just literally cover literally cover a
So
whole
this
area.
is so beautiful. I had to say something. Amazing idea. It's so good. Really, I just can't believe it. It's so beautiful.
Now imagine this on a major scale with with huge hoops that can deliver huge
Amazing,
bubbles
amazing.
and injecting just the right mixture of the plasma vapor inside the bubbles. And the idea also that you look at these bubbles, they are a thin
Keshe.
film. It's a very, very thin film, and that's where all the magic occurs on the nanoscale. So if we can create just the right bubble structure with our nanomaterials, then perhaps they will have even more magical qualities, let's say, and be able to, for example, similar to I've talked before about the stained glass in church windows. And back in the 16th and 14th centuries, or before that, I believe, they were making the red color using nano gold. They actually made nano gold to create the red color for the church windows, which it turns out when sunlight passes through those windows, it creates an ozone next to the window pane and actually eliminates any air pollution or chemical vapors or anything like that is instantly ionized
It's
due to
so amazing.
the UV rays passing through the nano gold in the windows. So in a similar way, perhaps these bubbles that we see they definitely have special qualities when the light passes through them, especially sunlight. They have rainbow colors that are common with bubbles and so on. But perhaps with special nanomaterials, the rainbow colors could transform the sunlight into a potent anti-chemical and basically a cleanup type foam that would, upon the application and between the vapors and the sunlight and UV rays coming through, would transform any radiation or contamination on the battlefield, let's say. The battlefield might be just any city in terms of air pollution and cleaning up the cities. Maybe this is a way to do it. It's a way to capture, actually, you can capture the particles in the air and isolate them and immobilize them in this material.
Be a great way to get the kids involved in plasma technology.
Well,
They love this.
absolutely, absolutely,
Absolutely.
and it'd be it seems like it'd be more fun to go out into the battlefield and blowing bubbles than shooting bullets. Makes sense if you're a kid. Generally, you like to have fun with other kids, not do them in. Because if you do them in, then that means you don't have any playmates to play with. Hello. So um, you could see uh, the battles of the future will be to see how good you can make the opposite whatever it is, country or opposite culture that you're fighting, how good you can make them feel. So your gun has the best GANs to make them feel good and make them feel like they are worthy of, not having to fight. And the same way, they're trying to do the same thing to you to make you feel good so that you don't have to fight. So maybe this will be the wars of the future. It'll be a war over peace to see who's the most peaceful and can create the most peace.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, brother.
Amazing.
That'd be a fun struggle to be involved in, I think. So I think that's the way it's going, though. I mean, this is a simplified way of looking at it, but what if we could go onto the battlefield and just with one so-called carpet bombing of a certain kind of bubble bubble material, the whole area is immobilized and nobody wants to fight anymore. And that might become a mandatory thing you have to do for any point on the earth that a firefight breaks out. You bring in the bubble bombers. You bubble bomb them, and there's no more aggression, and you're forced into not like blubbering idiot submission or anything, but it just makes you forget about being aggressive. All your needs are suddenly met. Why would you be aggressive towards anyone if your needs are met and you feel at ease emotionally and you feel, perhaps unconditional love towards others instead of unconditional hate, which seems to be, entrained into people that must go to war and kill others and so on. So perhaps this is a way to look at that situation. We have to look at it and actually start approaching this in a pretty serious way in the next while. People in the Keshe Foundation, people in the world in general, we have these various skirmishes breaking out all over the world with threats of larger ones and so on and so forth. And, yet we know we have technologies that can basically immobilize an entire country if a country wants to get that carried away with things and so on. But we don't want to have to go in immobilizing countries. We want to go and invigorate people into a new technology that enables them to have all the things they want in life. So they're not in need, they're not wanting to take from others, they're not thinking that others have more than they have and that they should have more and need more and so on and so forth, because there will be enough for all. And so those kinds of attitudes perhaps will pass away in the culture of the future, of the hopefully near future, the way I see it.
Hey, Rick,
Amazing.
Sorry?
Thank you.
can I ask you something?
Yeah, who's that? Is that Zane?
Yeah, this is Zane. Man, I've been producing a lot of GANs, and I put a lot of love into them. And today, I made several keys, and I gave them to a few special people. And today was one of the most trying days I've ever had in my life. I mean, situation after situation, it was almost like everything was already pre-planned and already made. It was just for me to fall into it and to see how I reacted to it. It was so strange. I mean, all day, but um, it. Oh man,
So did you pass the test at the end of the day, or how did it go?
I don't know. I was thinking, that the plasma that I have is the keys that I made. It's a part of each portion, and
What do you mean by keys? What keys that you mean?
well, I got tubes, and I put a little bit of the GANs in each tube.
Is there anything you
Well,
want to show in your video now, or anything, or do you
sir,
want to? Can we leave it to our imagination?
no, I mean I can show you.
It's good to see a
I was
picture
I
when
was
you're
being a big
describing
kid
things.
um this today earlier, so I kind of just goofed around and set a few things up. It might look dorky, but just forgive me because I was just trying to have fun. But um what I did
Okay.
is I took a little bit of fluid or plasma from each one, and I stuck them in these tubes, and I gave one to my wife, one to another friend, and one to another friend. And I have one, but I gave it to my friend just before I left his house. And
Were they like
They
round
would,
connected tubes or just a straight
yeah,
tube
yeah.
or?
I feel like the plasma is trying to figure everything out, and it's like I've done giving myself to it because I want it to be able to thrive and then help me thrive. You know, so I don't know if it's trying to find balance. It's trying to figure out what emotions are, this and that. You know, maybe I'm going a little out there. I'm sorry if I if I might be, but I'm not
Well,
sure. I
lots
know.
of lots of people have feelings and interactions with their ganses and plasmas and so on. That's for sure. There's and that's known as something that should be happening in that sense. In that if we're sensitive to the fields and our own plasma fields, then if we're in that state of being sensitive to plasma fields, then we're sensitive to all plasma fields, not just our own plasma field. We become sensitive
Right,
to the plasma fields of the people around us, to the plants around us, and animals, and perhaps even the motor vehicles that we drive in, and so on. So
mm,
it all becomes a different sort of world that we start to move into when we think of everything in terms of plasma, and not just think of it, but actually visualize and more importantly feel the fields. I think that's the important, factor. Most of the time we don't go around feeling fields. Most of the time we rely on our visual, our eyesight, for example, will tell us where things are and what they are, and so on and so forth. And we're pretty used to seeing a desk as being a desk, and so on and so forth. But we don't really see the field of that desk normally. We don't see the field of the stapler or the mouse that we push around on our computer or whatever different things in the environment. We look at a tree, we see the visual, colors of the tree. We don't generally see the ultraviolet or the infrared or the other types of fields, the magnetic and gravitational type fields that are emitted by entities like that. So once we start to become more sensitive, and all of a sudden different feelings come up and you're not sure, was that my intuition or was that real, was it just a figment of my imagination, or you have to start judging what's real, what's not real. Are those voices in my head God talking to me, or just something in my subconscious because of something I ate for breakfast.
well, something strange is it's like I'm outside of myself looking at myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like all my actions and everything that I'm doing, it's like I'm checking my conduct.
Right. Well, that sounds like a case of consciousness to me. You
And
have a bad case of consciousness, obviously. I
you
mean,
know,
that's what consciousness would be, in its basic form, is being aware of everything in front of you, essentially, all of the nuances that are occurring. And in a way that's from an impartial, objective point of view, which would be generally outside of the body or perhaps from the third eye or some
yes,
people from the
that's it.
heart.
Uh, Last night, man, I was laying in bed and my wife has TV going, and I had my eyes closed, but I could see the TV. I could see everything in the room. It
Mm-hmm.
was really weird. I mean, it was like Matrix kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really strange, man. Really strange. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's welcome to reality. And that gets scary because we're so used to being in our body, locked into our body, locked into only having the visual point of view that comes from our eyeball. And when we don't have that, when we shut our eyes, we're basically totally lost, other than fumbling around trying to feel things with our hands or whatever, feet and hands. But what if we did like what's his name? Movis. There's people that go without light for a long period of time, for example, and they might go a couple of weeks without light, and they'll learn to not use their eyes, but use a different sense of seeing, a different way to see. Like you were talking about, your eyes were closed, your physical eyes were closed, but you could still see the details of the room and the TV and so on.
Yeah, and another thing, Rick, is my intent. Everything is based on my intent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every action depends on the intent that
Mm-hmm.
I put
Mm-hmm.
into it. I see the
Well,
way that things are really weird, man.
Well,
Can I
here's
maybe?
another. Let me give a quick example, and then you come in, Mary. I just wanted to relay the idea of the Zen archery training. My a friend from New Zealand that told me about the Zen archery training he took. You go to the Zen archery masters, and it's late in the afternoon, and he talks philosophy or different ideas or whatever for some period of time until it gets dark, and then you take your bow and arrow, and it's that point when it's pitch dark and you cannot even see the target that he asks you uh, to shoot for the target. And that's when you learn to use your a different sense of vision to feel the target, essentially. And when it's done properly, then you release the arrow, and at the same time that the arrow hits the target, it also essentially hits your heart. It goes two ways. You feel it both ways, like so. Anyway, that's a similar thing in a way where you have to sort of let go, and it becomes a sensing thing rather than relying on the visual eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mario, you wanted to say something there. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, no, it's okay. That's brilliant. Actually, it's the same. You know, about a year and a half ago, it was October of 2014 when I first discovered Mr. Keshe. But I had been studying Tesla stuff and all of Heaviside's book, and I came to the conclusion that Tesla could see the fields. That's how he was manipulating them. And after studying his
Mm-hmm.
autobiography, I realized his mother taught him to use his imagination
Mm-hmm.
to do all his designs and building. As soon as I saw Mr. Keshe do a kid's workshop where he showed coils inside balls and connecting them, I immediately thought maybe I can learn to see the field the way Tesla did by using my imagination to draw them in. So I started practicing. So imagine you're not sitting in your chair, you're actually a magnet being held in position by other magnets. All around you, you have fields radiating out. I was talking to a singer about this, friend of mine, and she said, "You mean like the Matrix movie?" And I said, "Yeah, except everything is curved. Everything is fields winding around and coiling around." I started practicing doing that, and I got to where I could do it all the time if I wanted to. I could see the world with fields connecting everything. And for months, I was doing that. When I started drawing out the flower of life, I first got worried because I didn't see any of these kind of structures. But then later, I drew other versions. I saw, right, if you're in the middle of this mesh. When I made my reactor and I saw the fields coming off of the reactor, it was exactly what I've been seeing all the time. It really worried me because Tesla said he got to a point where he could tell what was in his imagination and what was really in the room. I went,
We missed part of the line there.
sorry,
We missed part of the line there. You broke up. Tesla got to the point where
where he couldn't tell the difference between what he was imagining and what was really in the room. I wasn't sure. I think that when I was my intent was to try to see the fields, what the universe. I don't think I was using my imagination at all. I think I was clearing away the fog. I was actually seeing reality. And Mr. Keshe said you have this flower of life structure right in the center of your brain at the thalamus. And it's got 12 fields that radiate out, intersect. When those field lines intersect, they balance each other out and create an opening. They go in and out of a real infinity loop where they're coming in and they're going out. And they creates 12 fields, and then there's another 12 fields created from those, another 12 from those, 9 layers of 12 fields. And each of those have 108 places where the fields, this is how the neutron divides. Mr. Keshe said, if you understand that, you understand the essence of creation and the basis of space travel. This is what's happening to Zane. Here's what's happening. I learned an exercise where if I just sit with my eyes closed and I practice trying to find that, what the Hindi call the third eye. It's not the third eye. That's a portal that the fields are going in and out. And on the other side of that field, this is the hypothesis part, is the soul of the man. And because the Greeks layered, they named the layers of the fields. Sorry?
Review that last sentence.
Okay. All right. On the infinity loop, when at the center of your brain, that's an umbilical cord to a higher octave of existence, another level of magnitude field strengths. That's the soul. But I asked this to Mr. Keshe last year. Everything in the universe has its own pitch. Mr. Keshe said, of course.
Sorry, Mario. We're having a hard time. We're having a hard time listening to you here. You said
vibration, the sound has a replica. Well,
we're only catching every third word or so here, so it's difficult to follow along. You said that everything has a certain pitch, and that's what Mr. Keshe was saying, that he agreed with that.
And every pitch has a replica of itself in octaves, in tune with it. So what the soul's done is created an octave replica of itself as the emotional part of the body. So the soul is connected and creates an opening, radiates the fields out. That creates this structure. The primary fields come out of that central core at the thalamus. That's the emotional part of the body. The 108 fields, and then it repeats in so many octaves again and again and again and again and again. That is the physical part of the body. That is a spaceship. That's a spaceship. Yeah. You are a spaceship. I am a spaceship. Yeah. The passenger is the soul and the emotional part. The emotional part has created fields by layering layers of fields to create a hull and compartments and so on and so forth to guarantee survival here. The exercise I was doing is to try to find that center, that central core, and focus my mind on that. It took me weeks to be able to just hold on to it and then try to wiggle my finger. I immediately found that I lost focus of the central core, and I'm thinking about my finger. I'm flying my spaceship outside in. You see, I don't have control from the fields out. I only have control from the outside in. I can only move my finger. I can't feel the fields. There's no finger. It's a part of the hull of my spaceship that I'm readjusting the fields. When I walk across the floor, it seems like I'm walking right foot, left foot across a flat, solid floor. I'm not. I'm actually readjusting the fields and flying in a spaceship. I'm increasing my velocity. I am sitting in one place I'm really in a geosynchronous orbit around the central core of the Earth, held in position by magnetic fields. When I'm moving, I'm actually moving across the floor. And the reason we don't have lift is because we're carrying ballast, the food in our stomachs. As long as we have food in our stomachs, you're stuck at this level. You might be able to go up and down and levitate, but you cannot go up and down through the layers. You might be able to make a spaceship or turn my car with the Serral engine effect and fly to New York in 4 minutes, but I got to go around this layer. The real way to go to New York is to go through a portal, open a portal that's tuned to New York, and just step through the portal in instantaneous travel. But I can't, because you have to go up and down through the layers. You have to go up and down vertically. See, it's a different perception. Zane, what you're doing, not eating, for one, you're gaining lift. And you're learning to see from the inside out instead of the outside in.
Brother, I'm being tested so hard, even in my dreams, man. And I have no control over my dreams, but I remember the actions, I remember the situations, but man, it's so intense. I don't know what's going on, man.
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. It's not that you're being tested. You're finding out the real reality of this existence from the outside in, and that is coming to an end. You need to give up. This is what's happening. You're really just coming to an enlightened state where you're realizing how everything in this life is wrong. Everything. Eating is an abomination. Nano-coating food in your stomach and extracting the energy from the tissues of what was a living entity is an act of violence and an act of desecration of its remains. It's exactly what the Bible talks about, the abomination in the temple. And in some weird, backwards, upside down, inside out version of that is what the priests do with the burnt offerings in the temple. Right below my heart, I've got a sacrilege. I nano coat living dead tissue, and that's why
muscle there. We have a muscle in our heart that we don't even use.
Well, the thing is, Mr. Keshe told Jackie if he can go without food for 6 months, he'll lose his digestive tract. That's what I've been trying to do, but man, I've been tested, and man, I've been crashing and burning, man. So I understand, but I got to figure out how to get a feeding reactor or something.
We're missing one thing, man. We're missing one thing. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. We're gonna get it, bro. We're gonna get it, man.
Yeah, if our intent's correct. Man, that guy from Togo, if he's real, it turns out he's real. He manipulated matter with his mind. He just used copper and got whatever GANs he wanted. That's, it shows you we have a higher power. We just don't know it. We're flying. We see the universe outside in. We think, we're eating. As long as we're eating, well, and even the Gantz food cups and stuff, think about it. If you come from another planet and you come to Earth and you see me and I look at you and you look like a chicken, I think, well, I'm not going to eat you. Why? Well, because I killed one of your relatives here on Earth, cooked up his body the way I liked it, nano-coated it, which is basically his remains. And now I just drink the dance water of that, and I can savor tasting you. And if I do it right, I can even feel the texture of eating you. In fact, I'm doing it right now. Gulp, gulp, gulp. How do you feel about coming to my planet? Or how do you feel about coming to your planet? Even if I swear I'm never going to eat you, just dealing with my emotions, you know how much, not only how many of you I've killed and eaten and desecrated, but how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, what if we moved to an island and it turned out the island was just an island of cannibals?
Bother you.
We
Yeah,
probably
sorry.
wouldn't
dominating
think so
here. I
good.
don't mean to.
No, it's good, Mario. It's just a little hard to hear you from time to time when it breaks up there, but it's
being
good.
a human, Well, I think by universal standards, an apple and a human is still got a soul. An apple's got a central core. It's a living soul, and so killing it and eating it, killing a human. I mean, by us, we think, right, humans are the top of the thing. Yeah, well, by universal standards, maybe not. Anyway, was that a little bit too over the top here?
No, no, that was good. Okay.
Zane, keep it up, man. Don't worry. You're doing, I mean, I'm just, if you're getting discouraged, don't, man.
Oh, I'm not getting discouraged. I just want to figure it out. So, man, I can do something really great and help a lot of fucking people, man.
Well, that's part of it. And first thing is we got
We're
to.
in such a really bad predicament, and we didn't do this to us, It's like I really don't want to get into it because it would probably be bad, but man, too many people are suffering, and there shouldn't be none, man. It's done, bro. It's done. It should be finished. People need to see what they're doing and understand and have empathy, and look at their next person, like, with their hand out if they can help them. I don't know, man.
Well, that's what people are doing all over the world now with this technology. They're turning other people onto it, and they're helping people with their pain and their suffering, and with their the way we're going is with their lack of food or other things that they need in their life can all be provided now. So it's up to people like us to get the word out and to let people know that there is a technology that's coming along that's available to people, and it's something you can start doing yourself. And it's there's grandmothers that are out there that have just started diving into this, and they're leading workshops now and making maggrav units and doing their ganzas and doing their feeding off of plasma water and all that kind of stuff. So
I've started an experiment where I made a GANs bank, and I'm pulling from that bank to make little cells, well, keys, and I gave quite a few away today, and I want to see if the line of communication opens up, between everybody, and not only that, they what they wish they can receive.
Right. Well, with the good intention you put behind that, then that undoubtedly will have some good results. So that is the important part. Is I try not to focus on the stuff that's wrong in the world, because it's easy to get really involved with all the wrong stuff, and try to focus on putting out like good energy, you might say, or just sort of a positive way forward, and just keep focusing on the positive, that we can do this. We can actually change the world with silly little things like this.
A bubble gun.
Who knows? Bubble gum or bubble gun. Maybe it'll be a way to change the world. Maybe in the future, blowing bubbles with bubble gum will indicate that you're on a peace mission of some sort. So Lee, I'd like to see what you've got there. You've been patiently waiting with your device. Let's hear about what you have there.
Well, I finally got around to making that fourth infinity quotient 6 reactor. And so now I put the 4 reactors I built into the Starship formation. I just did that this morning, actually. And I haven't really loaded this thing up yet. I've only got about 7 watts on it right now. But
they're all hooked together and into one circuit.
Yeah, they're hooked together in series. And so I got power coming in one, and then 4 units in series, and then the 7-watt light that's shining on this thing. But you put your hands on the side of it, you can definitely feel the fields around it. You put the little electric tester on it, it only beeps 2 inches away from it, so there's not not much of a
Well, that
you
would
know,
be your
detectable field from that
electromagnetic
machine.
field. Yeah, that's not
But it's only
necessarily
got
indicative.
yeah, it's only got 7 watts on it right now. So I got it next couple of days. I'll probably put in 1,000 watts. Actually, each one of these should take 1,000 to 2,000 watts. So I could. The only thing is I don't have that much that much watts to load it up with. So anyway, I'll try and get a couple of 1,000 watts on it here in the next few days and see what the field looks like and see what happens. So work in progress here.
Right on. Interesting.
But I got another little device.
Oh, okay.
Here we got to show you. Okay, that's just. This is something Mike Nashif did a video on yesterday. I guess I just watched the video today, so I thought it would look really neat. It's he calls it a infinity double helix quad coils. Is what there's 3 coils in each of these balls. I don't know whether my webcam doesn't show too much of it, but
sort of see it there. So
but
three coils in each ball.
and they're double coils basically because he's taking his quad core which he twists. So and then he takes a second quad core and twists it in with the first one to get the double helix. So he's saying each one of these coils is equivalent to 2 of our maggrav power coils. So this would be equivalent to 12 maggrav power coils is what he's claiming. Now this is all experimental. He hasn't even done much testing. I don't think he's even turned his on yet. He was just showing us. He was still in the process of making it. So, but it looked neat. So I said, and easy to build. So I said I'd try it. But the purpose of it is for teleporting. So you can hold one in one hand and one in your other hand, and with you in between, and his purpose is to teleport with these things. But apparently they also connect with your DNA and RNA, and you can actually train yourself to get ready to teleport to get all the switches turned on or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about because
these plug into the grid.
Yeah, these plug into
the
power.
The grid, and then you hold on to them. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay.
So they just.
Well, just
anyway,
be careful. You'll be transported, all right.
So it was a fun little project, I thought. So I decided to put it together here tonight. But take this out of tape shut and just take it apart here and pull that coil out of there.
Oh, yeah.
So you got your three coils in there. Each one twisted into a spiral. And then so that I made these with nano-coated wire, but I got a lot of nicks in my nano-coating, so I got to re-nano-coat it. And then you got to GANS it and spray it with coconut oil and put a bit of dried GANS in the ball along with it. Yep, and then seal the ball up and
a bit of dried GANS in with the ball.
Yeah, that's what he was calling for. And then he was going to wrap the joint on this ball with some foil tape. Nano-coated foil tape, so when you hold it, you're getting a good contact.
And is there any of the wiring attached to that tape that would go around it, or that would just be
No. Well, actually, there would, because it's probably gonna touch these wires coming out, and not. You may not want to touch both wires coming out, otherwise you'd short circuit.
Probably not. Yeah, could get a little dicey there, or you become the short circuit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting idea. I like those little coils. They are neat and compact, and if they do indeed do the same job, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. So anyway, fun little experiment. I thought I'd show you guys just to give you some ideas. Mike's got an 1.5-hour video. He just on his site, Mike Nashif on the YouTube. So I've probably told you about 10% of what he's he's told us on that video. So if anyone's interested, then go watch the video and discover more about what this is supposed to do and how to build it.
Cool, thank you.
So,
Neat. Wonder if that could rotate as well and produce something there. Do you have any way to measure fields other than your hands at this point?
well, other than the little electric detector, but
Yeah.
I mean that's the only thing I got.
Okay.
Do you got a iPhone?
I got a Android.
I do too. You can try that Tesla app.
It's true.
Yeah.
It'll give you magnetic fields.
Or the Gauss,
Gauss.
Gauss, or the compass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the magnetical compass. There's at least 3 things that you can kind of pick up a field on anyway if it's making a field, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
With those devices, with that Android devices, that's what you ask, does that do they work? Because Sandor said that there's some sort of antenna in certain devices. There's certain phones.
Yep, they have. They definitely have field detectors for magnetic fields, and positioning and all of that.
So that's a starting point anyway, huh?
Yeah, it's true. We should probably have a couple of dozen different types of detectors and have them all going at once. And if you could watch each line on your computer and see which one does a little blip when you move something, and see which one is actually recording something when you make a movement or enter the room or talk to it or whatever response you're trying to get from your device, right? So
Well,
what other ways do we have of measuring? What's Stefan has something there. What's he got? You got something you want to show there?
Doing good.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, since we were talking about putting sensors everywhere, I'm working on a Arduino kit, and they have all sorts of sensors that you could add to it. So
Yeah,
if you
they
wanted
even
to,
have them in Princess Auto now, the Arduino kits. I can't believe it. So yeah, so what do you got there for sensor and what have you done with your kit?
well, I've just started on this. It's my second day. I received this a few days ago, so I'm really new at this, but I should. I should figure it out pretty fast. What I'm thinking about is, well, it's a kind of top secret type of thing, but since I always like to share, I'll share it with you guys. No, I just have the idea of preconditioning some devices and giving them a little push in their rotations so I could precondition the field, and then I'll take off my little devices that I put on the device to give it that little push. And I'm planning to use like relays like this. And right now, I thought I had ordered 8 of them, but I didn't receive them. So I'm waiting for 8 of them, but I'll be practicing in the meanwhile. So there's many types of relays. You could get some for 12 volts, some for 120 volts. In this particular case, I like to use the 12-volt battery. I'm familiar with it, and it's a type of electricity where when you get shocks, it's not too bad either because I like to play around with the wires a lot. So either way, long story short, I'll be working with 12 volts and I'll be triggering patterns that I want the plasma fields to emulate. So, but I came up also with a design for but yeah, I have to show you this. I think you're gonna like this. Let me show you this. I wasn't thinking about talking today, but now it's popping to mind. I know you're gonna like it. Uh, let's see if I put this as my background. Yeah, pretty cool. Let me know what you think about. Oh Yes, yes. So for me, this principle makes total sense. It has all the mechanism in it to create the rotation. So here we could imagine just in this particular case, as to simplify terms, just a single coil could be a double coil. The type of McGrath, just exterior coil would do. Now we know it's a torus, so the energy is coming out from one side and wants to come back to the inside. Now, if you point it to that direction, then here it will want to join with it if it's close enough and if the field was strong enough. They'll join together for sure. And the way I see it, it will create the rotation. Now, I'm talking also about using the relays to trigger to see if I could trigger on top of maybe of the plasmatic field that I leave there stable, come in and trigger my coils with more energy to get a pattern that I like. But in this one, what I really also liked is that they're all going in the same direction, and the fields of the coil also, since I'm using coils for this particular example, they're all going towards the inside. So this coil here, which is what I think is my gravitational. Then the flows of these that are going like this, then this should accentuate the torus of this one here. Because this one will also have its own torus, right? It coming inside from up top, looping back like that. And these are going to be reinforcing this. So already right there, these two systems are helping each other. So that's like I didn't really, I'm not the type of guy who thinks very much about systems, but now I'm starting slowly to think about them more and more. So that's where I am. You
This is what you're going to create next is the four coils and suspend them somehow and play with that.
Yes, yes, yes. For me, that's what I'm going to play with the Arduinos, and I'm going to do it on a very small scale to start off with. I'm going to
Cool.
make a little constellation, and
How
I'll play
how
around with that.
how will you measure the fields, or will you just like I was asking Lee? Uh, how do you measure the fields then, Stefan?
Well, that's a good question. Now I'm gonna have an EMF reader, so I'm gonna have more. How can I say devices to see what's going on. I have an oscilloscope that I use in my computer. Anybody could use that through my sound card.
Mm-hmm.
I get an oscilloscope, so that's a good start. I'll go with the feel of it, the feeling of it, the sixth sense ability of feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably do other stuff that'll come when the time comes. I want to be trying to recreate magnetism in many ways. I say to myself, I'm going to be playing around with the iron wire a lot. The iron wire or center raw wire. They make magnetism with that. You can either magnetize it or demagnetize it, magnetize it, demagnetize it. So for me, it kind of makes sense to play around the iron. The core of
Mm-hmm.
Earth is iron.
Yeah,
So
I
if we,
thought of that too. It could be a good core core material. I mean, we use it in transformers and that kind of thing, but what if it was an actual like nano coated iron wire at the core? And for example, I was thinking of MIG welding wire, which is a steel, wire, but it's coated with copper, and
oh,
to prevent it from corroding. And I thought, well, what if we did a quick nano coating with that thin copper layer on top of the iron? It could be a really interesting core material because then you have a direct coating of the copper oxide right on top of the iron.
that's
Has
the
any,
that's the type of materials that we really need to be using, and because they're going to have a purpose, they're going to certainly give more interaction. But something also comes to mind that nobody never really talked about, and I think it's worth mentioning. I had, I don't remember how I had done the graphene, uh, but I had graphene, and I had my two leads of my multimeter, and I put two wires on it, and I had dipped it in the graphene that I was playing with. Then I was rubbing it on my wires. I was just rubbing it, two wires together, trying to smooth out the graphene on the wire. And then I'm looking at the multimeter and it jumped up to 1.8 volts. Okay, when I tried to place these wires in a way where I could have that constant, it wouldn't work because I, for me it's a single layer atom that this perfect single layer atom when it's done, and then it becomes like a super capacitor. It's all about the nano size and being able to put the carbon at the right distances. Then you'll get that effect. And I'm talking about two bare wires with just the graphene with water, and I was rubbing the two wires together, and it was fluctuating from zero point 0.4 volts to 1.8 volts. So the graphene is really the key. The key.
All right. Make perfect graphene. Half the two-thirds acetone, one-third water, distilled water, a tablespoon of real fine graphite in a blender on high for about an hour. Just let it run.
Yeah, I ordered supercapacitors today, like the new capacitors. Now I'm going to be adding them to my cells. I'm sure you're going to like this color. Let me just do this. I
Thank
don't
you.
really see the colors here. Anyways, I was trying. What did I put in here? Ormus. I put the other one. I put carbon, graphite. This one is a weird Gans. It's like blood color. It's really interesting. This one here is zinc and zinc plate. So it's a monatomic CO2, and the other one is CH3, which is
That's an interesting looking device. It's kind of got a steampunk look to it or something, you know?
yeah, it does. Yeah,
Steampunk brooch.
it actually looks better in person.
Yeah,
They're more clearer and they're white. They're nice.
neat. Those are the tubes you use, right? The little plastic tubes with use hot glue at each end?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I continue using light blue for the moment. Seems to work very well.
You don't have any leaks happening as long as you properly put it on, or
That's right. But you get your little surprises, but little leaks. It's really fun to work with. Even that,
right. If you preheat the end of the tube a little bit with the hot glue gun tip, it probably helps to make the glue stick. And you use a bit of paper towel, I think you said, a
yes, yes.
little
You don't
wad on
have
the
to,
end.
but it does help, and it prevents it. If there is a little leak, then it helps it a lot because the GANs will accumulate on it, and the scotch towel will absorb some water, and which will accumulate more GANs. So yes, it kind of seals it a bit.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's pretty. I have a lot of stuff to do with the cells still. I have to build even more because I put most of them on my GANs production. So I've been producing these types of GANs of blood color. This one's quite original. Usually we get to see it a bit better, but yeah, it's a strange color. And I'm starting to play around with these, and I already got some interesting stuff. It's interesting.
Very good. Okay. Anything else there to report today, Stefan?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time
Thank you for your input. Appreciate it.
and
Nice.
your great patience, my friend.
Sometimes. Okay. Anybody else have something they'd like to show and tell today, or questions, or any questions for what you've seen so far? Comments?
Rick, how far have you got with your interaction with your reactors or your GANs?
I'm not quite sure by what you mean by how far. I'm not lifting off the ground or anything yet, but I'm gotten to the point right now where I'm finally ready to start diving into things in a more intense way, actually. Been distracted by a number of things in the last few months that's taken a lot of my time, and now I've freed up somewhat to be able to refocus on my lab stuff, which is what I really want to do. And that's why I went down to the dollar store and purchased my little what's it called? It's a bubble blaster, I think it's called, for $3. Jeez, and it includes
the dollar store, huh?
I can't beat that. It even includes that much of the bubble stuff. So, and it's a beautiful mechanism. Where I look inside and see that it's got this little blower motor inside there. Can't believe it. Let me just spotlight it briefly. It's got that beautiful little blower motor, which I'm thinking of converting into a Tesla turbine instead of the vane type blower motor, and it's got this great gear mechanism that's all in here that to make it all connect together and work and so on with the idler gears and so on. And it's got this fancy thing in the front that goes up and down, and a pump. There's an actual pump that pumps the fluid up from the bottom into this mechanism here that pumps it into this little ring in the front here, and that's where the fun comes out.
CO2 bubbles.
Yeah, that's right. Look out, world.
That's beautiful.
You want
you don't even have to recharge it.
You want to fight with this. See what happens.
Stand on a corner and shoot everybody with it.
Yeah, well, I guess you could be considered violent by trying to turn people peaceful.
Wait a minute now. Look, the EU tried to pass a law saying that children can't be blow up balloons without supervision under 10 years old. We'll give them one of these. They can blow bubbles. How can they yell at people for blowing bubbles?
Well, that's it. We need child armies going out into the battlefield to produce peace, perhaps.
Yeah, right from the ground up. The little ones.
Yeah. Perhaps that's the way to go.
It would be like the one that put the flower in the end of the gun.
Well, that's right. A gun that a little flower comes out the end, or what's the other thing? A little scroll comes out that says pop or something like that. Or says peace. The peace gun, where a little peace scroll comes out the end. Or a rubber dart with a rubber suction cup that has peace on it, and you.
Right between the eyes.
Yeah, right in the third eye with a peace dart. And you lick it with some Gans water before you shoot it, so when it sticks on with a bit of Gans vapor or something. Gans plasma water.
On the suction cup is the Gans.
So, this is what the bad guys are going to have to look out for in the future. They're going to have to not look out for bullets, but look out for for peace bubbles. They're all over the place. What are you going to do? You have to stop breathing in order to keep fighting.
I wonder. I wonder. It's all funny, but after the fun and games is past, that may be applicable in certain instances of contamination or something, where you just pass inside like a ring where it shoots bubbles on you with gans, where you
Mm-hmm.
get decontaminated. Or it's a funny way, but a good way to shoot people, if instead of shooting them with water directly, you just got the right amount with the bubble type of situation.
Yeah,
Toxic.
exactly. Now the thing is, we have to make the bubble material so it's even less toxic than it is in terms of, soap gets in your eye, it hurts, and it's probably not the best to be on your skin
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so on, although we use soap all the time. But there's probably some natural products, natural soaps, that would be equivalent to the probably quite synthetic bubble stuff or whatever cheapo stuff they use. We would have our own custom blends, of course, with the premium skin-friendly soaps and the GANs, the GANs mixtures that are deemed correct for certain situations. Um,
Beauty. It's
what if there's somebody, for example, was burnt and they were actually their skin was burnt and you didn't want to apply something directly to their skin, and they're
yeah.
they're in pain in front of you. Well, a GANS gun could be the perfect thing to just get the body coated in a way that's gentle and doesn't irritate the skin, and gives it that coating which it needs to start the healing process for the burn victim, or
It's
the
fantastic.
radiation victim that you can't even remove their clothes or touch them or anything. You just coat them with these bubbles right off the bat that
Yeah.
immobilizes any off gassing from them. At the same time, it goes in and starts removing the actual or decontaminating or
I think we have to work on smaller pellets of bubbles so they last longer and they're stronger.
quite possibly. There's people that do bubble tricks on stage that are just incredible. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen any of the videos, but they do bubbles within bubbles within bubbles, and these huge bubbles and bubble sculptures and yeah, all kinds of amazing things. And what if that again was done for both entertainment and to change the mood of the audience at the same time? So you go and people, they enjoy the show, but they also, you take home this additional benefit of actually having these bubbles pop on you and having this great substance being spread around in that room and helping create peace, right from the stage, right from the stagecraft, basically.
Quite surprising the
Or
benefits that are coming out of the GANs itself, and people like Zane has been drinking it, and people like Carlene on my side has been drinking it, and a lot of people have been drinking it.
and to be
Uh,
clear, are they drinking the GANs or the so-called GANs water or plasma water, which most
well,
people seem to be drinking the plasma water, just to be
yes,
clear
yes,
with
yes.
people,
Plasma water. And
right?
personally, I don't recommend it. I'm talking about this, but I don't recommend anybody drinking it. But I'm just saying, pointing out the facts are that there are only benefits that I'm seeing. Those are the facts.
At this point, it
Just say
seems to
this.
be. Go
Can I
ahead.
just say this for 1 second? You know what you might be looking at there? Go back to the picture, your picture. Can you go back to that? Yeah. What you might be looking there at, like what we're looking at, like where we're all standing at the precipice of, like, like that is the sixth gun of the West, of the Wild Wild the West.
How the
You
West
think
was
about
won. This is
exactly.
how the
Rick
world
Grimes
was won.
comes up with the new sixth gun of the universe. Could you imagine every person having that on their side in a little holster when they say, get into a situation, I got my Gantz gun. You, You stick it up over your head and you squirt the Gans bubble over yourself. It protects you from everything that's coming upon you. It gives you food, water, shelter, everything.
Just excellent, yeah.
Yeah, and
You might be looking at the thing that everybody might have to have strapped on in a crude, very crude form. But could you imagine?
yeah. What if an argument breaks out?
Hey,
Everybody.
I got my Gans gun. Stand back.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. The bullets come at you. Lead absorbed.
Beautiful.
Nuclear power absorbed. I got my 6-gun, my Gans 6-gun. Thank you, Rick. You are so advanced. I don't even feel like showing anything I've been doing today. You just blew us away.
And then if you want lunch, you just shoot yourself in the mouth with it.
What a great idea. So
we are the cowboy. You are the first cowboy in the universe.
That's what you are, man.
You don't even need a horse.
Absolutely.
I'm more of the rebel cowboy than the regular one, but yeah.
So good.
I think we should elect him sheriff.
The new global sheriff.
He already did it.
Don't mess with me.
No.
Don't mess with Keshe.
Think about that. Don't worry, man. I heard you. Bringing up your voice loud. It's just I don't want to be around that.
Yeah, either do I. That's why I need this to shoot myself with. So here you go. Well, that's an idea, you realize you're getting.
Let's all get in line before you shoot us.
I mean, what a concept. You feel yourself getting upset, well, you just shoot yourself with the Gans gun, and all becomes, calm and clear again, and away you go. It's great. You can use it on others, use it on yourself. If someone sees that you're getting upset and suddenly you see bubbles all around you, you realize, oh, I guess I must have been getting overly upset. Someone is gansing me. So, and keep the kids from getting out of control, so the kids can keep the adults from getting out of control. Mom, you're being too overbearing. Mom, you're being too overbearing. Or, kids, you're being too loud. Mom, you're being too overbearing. There'll be battle royales out there with peace all over the place. Jeez, what a mess, eh? Yeah, stop in the name of Gans. In the name of plasma, put down your weapons, or I'll be forced to bubble the area.
As well as it's all sounds like a joke, but you're talking about the essence of the reality right now.
Well, this is true because there's actually some pretty serious decisions that have to be made in terms of where this technology is going. This technology meaning the Keshe-based technology, where it's going in the next short while. And, we see events all over the world. There's traumas, there's terrorist activities, there's wars, there's things breaking out in many countries. Tomorrow. And can we afford to bring the Keshe technology into a world where people are going to misuse it if they're still wanting to hurt each other? So, or do we just simply bring it in and say, look, this is what's going to happen. People will get hurt until we learn to respect and pay attention to what's going on and to help each other rather than getting involved in this, in what we've been taught to hate each other and to fight each other and this kind of thing. And that it just make it no longer okay. Go ahead.
You also mentioned two really important concepts, ideas, imaginations and inspirations. One of them was the the light being through the bubble and its effect within the GAN's sort of field, whatever you use. And the second one was the future kids. That's just amazing. I mean, those two subjects I am actually working and thinking at the moment. Future kids came towards the that's just so simple, nothing epic or anything like that. It's just the ping pong balls and adding some black bits around it. That's just a plastic and contains CO2, and rolling the sort of spinning it. It reminded me my childhood, where I had this little toy where I had to turn, and then it indicated, one side indicated one thing, the other side indicated other thing. Where it was when it stopped spinning. So these it's so sci-fi. It's just because you mentioned it, I have to continue saying that. But two kids, none of the kids going to have iPhones or anything like that. It's all going to be about the field where they choose to be, where they want to stay, and just play with these fields, spinning the little. Oh, the camera is not on. I was. Oh, terribly sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, light is coming always from a wrong direction here, and it's just like. Anyway, these beads came from. It's just so simple. These, I don't know what they call, but the droplets or whatever they call. You put the drops into whatever you need, and I removed the plastic bits and attached it to a ping pong ball, and I filled it with CO2 GANs in respect to whatever it's in the ball. Then why did I do that? Because I have seen the animations of the fields videos has been released by the Keshe Foundation, and seeing it gives you inspiration in terms of your physicality. You'd like to see it, you see it a little bit, and then and the inspiration comes depending on your creativity or your surroundings or whatever. So what I made this just by using whatever I had, and I've edited it. Simple as that with this. And then I instantly realized the future kids is going to play this. It's all going to be something else. And then the other kid, do you know the cards being put off the table, and then there are all those different strength of the and then you match it, and then you either give or you take. But this is going to be this gas, different, that one, which field is going to come down together, and then they actually feel the field, this beautiness. It could be a smiley face here or whatever. It's so high, sci-fi. I could say hi-fi. But yes, well, go ahead.
What else you got there, Alper? That's
Right,
interesting ideas there. You seem to come up with something new every week from your. You get inspiration from the workshops and so on.
Well, yes. Okay, let's go down to business. What I wanted to do is, I wanted to fire this up, this Starship configuration without any cascading or getting any energy through the sort of any plasma units. So what could I use? What I could use? I just so frustrating, and it's honestly, I couldn't find it, and I thought it was me that I could start it, but it didn't work. Maybe it's because of me, but and then I started investigating crystals because Mr. Keshe advised us to collaborate with the crystals in certain ways. Why not taking it into another way? Because it's been advised. But what is a crystal really? Is it something to play with? Is it something to understand it? Is it something to do with it? I mean, I have crystals all my life, all around me, and I don't know what happened with those. I haven't felt anything. Nothing really happened, and up until this point, what happened? I need to put this down, but I don't know. Okay, I just put it like this. Okay, so I've started reading about it. It didn't take me a very long time to come to a conclusion where I could program it. Programming is not actually writing a code on the computer. It's metaphorical, where you need to control your thoughts / your intentions towards it before you I wish I know the correct English word for it, but abracadabra. That's a real word where 100% you put your intention into it with your while the moment has been created, whatever you're thinking, these are that kind of materials, is not to be played with negative intentions. You can play it. Some people might think that, all right, I can direct this part. No, it bounces back to you. It comes back to you, and it can be very dangerous. Crystals are real, and it consists of liquid and matter. This has to be really understood, liquid and matter. What is a liquid? Liquid matter, liquid state is your emotions. Look, there have been scientists where they have put their intentions into water, where they have seen the structures where they were indicated peace, this and that. Okay, this 50 or the whichever percent of the slash of the half of the crystal is liquid. You need to put your intention into it. Okay, it's not a matter state, but why did I come to that conclusion? Okay, I'm not a genius or anything like that. I saw the videos. I've worked with these. We know where we came from the, you know, the making the units and the GANs and the Starship and so on, and it continued here. And I know I can see that's why I have put these so that it would collaborate one another. It maybe has a missing ingredients in it. This is another lovely stuff that I'm going to tell you, which is amazing and beautiful. Doesn't matter what is missing in those. You made it, you've written it down. I have made it, I've written it down. I've talked about this and that, and there are crystals here, which I can explain it, why it happened. This resembles Mr. Rick's idea. What's in there? 3 crystals. Two of them is looking down, one of them is looking up, and 2 binoculars ends where they've been glued each other, and there is a sort of layer of CO2 gas in between them. I would come to that idea how I brought all this. It's really silly, maybe I'm making all dreaming, but programming is your intention. If you think that it's going to be fired up without cascading, where you have created the structure towards that meaning, crystals are working for you. But one thing I have learned, that's a secret, they need to be cleared, sort of Control Alt Delete kind of, or the Mac users, just end it. This is a new operating system. I'm not talking about this bit or like what I've done. It's just the whole idea is the new operating system, if you see what I mean. Where I come to this, I believe in crystals. Liquid side, where I put my intention into it, the other bit, the physical side of it, manifests it. This is how they are magical.
Alper, have you took that your tube device thing you got there and looked through the center of it around you?
I mean, there is no real looking in anything with your own eyes. There is no looking. This has been made to be able to see with my heart in order to put it up on my head, so that I will activate or sort of remember my travels or kind of way, whatever I am experiencing. There's no seeing with your own eyes. You may be able to, if you come to a point of understanding. Why not? It's not, you're not all on your own. It's not your decision. This is collaboration. You need to collaborate it. Going back, seeing it, what I thought was putting in between the binocular glasses CO2. I thought with my heart, seeing it through the light, like the bubbles, and coming back at me and radiating it through like heart, but as well as seeing it with my heart's eyes. This is sort of, as Mr. Keshe explained, to me it indicated that's how I'm going to come back, and that's how I'm going to energize it. Anyone talking there? Sorry, there is no sound coming.
We're getting some sound in the background from a radio or something. Maybe it's Zane. I think it's, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, was that it, Alper?
Yeah, that's
okay.
it, really.
Well, thank you. That was good. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you so much, Rick. All the inspirations I can get. I'm traveling tomorrow to Istanbul.
Pardon me, you're traveling tomorrow?
To Istanbul.
Oh?
For the holiday, to be with my family, and it's just so beautiful. I'm in the mood. That's why I'm like so cheerful and stuff.
I wish you a good journey.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
let's go on to. I see Mark has his video open
Please
here
do.
with something that we can maybe have a look at. Oh, pardon me?
I was telling him to put a little CO2 in his pocket for his journey.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The pocket CO2 patch that you sit on in the plane for your trip.
Exactly.
Not a
Well,
bad idea. It's
believe
actually
me, I thought about all the possibilities, but at this time of the sort of turbulations, if I may say, so it's not feasible. Really, it's not clever. I don't know what I'm traveling. I'm gonna go to Paris, and then I'm gonna go to Istanbul, and I'll be there. See how it goes.
all
I
right.
need your wishes rather than CO2 GANs. That's or a
You don't
pact.
need our wishes. We're with you 100% step of the way.
Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to doing some, you know, what I was thinking, and Istanbul has this Earth's one of the brilliant veins of the planet. If you don't see it like in Istanbul, if you see it like a ball or whatever, and there's just some tiny, tiny entrance from one side to another, and the water flows through it as you were. Imagine you're a very giant person and looking through it. It's a beautiful scene, or as you elevate yourself towards from that area. Well, I was thinking, and it's not that dear to rent a little boat or whatever, and I'm gonna go through it, and then while I'm going through it, I'm gonna try to do the teaching, or joining the meetings or anything, and these are all hopes, are all beautiful dreams of mine. Thank you for
Very
listening.
good. Thank you,
I
Alper.
love you. Bye.
Okay, Mark, what do you got going there now? You got the looks like a terrorist with some kind of dynamite strapped onto the side of one container there, and so on. But I don't think that's the case at all.
No, it's all about peace. You know that.
Of course. In this case, those what look like dynamite are just your regular old copper pipes, I believe. And you've
Yeah.
got some inside and some outside the jar. Could you explain that?
Well, like I told you last week, that I thought to myself, I had 6 containers. My thought was 6 because we had 3, the C or the CO2, the CH3, and the CuO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I said to myself, I'm going to have 3 containers inside, 3 containers outside. So I'm building this thing. I'm thinking to myself, yay, I got all the parts, and Gantz is and I got some questions about what I did about Gantzing, and I can go through the whole thing. I've got it all written down, but the oddball thing that freaked me out the most, and what you're looking at right now on the picture, is when I told you last week, I wanted to make the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out. We can go back to the video. I set it on camera, right? I said, I want to make me. I said, I take it 1 step further. I got to take it inside, outside, inside, outside. I had all my containers all lined up, but then I put it all together, everything together. I'm happy. I'm looking at it. I'm not even thinking, but it turned out this way. And if you look at it, it's not all inside, outside, inside, outside. For some odd reason, I don't know what made my hands move the way they did, but from looking at the screen from right to left, is zinc inside, a nano-coated zinc plate inside, raw nano-coated or raw plate inside. And then I wanted to, I put just, is that raw? Yes, that's the raw one. No. Shoot, I got to get up now. Okay, that one is the nano-coated raw, nano-coated raw, nano-coated raw. Yeah, so this one here is nano-coated inside, raw outside. There's a nano-coated, all the nano-coating plates on the back side. All the raw plates are on the front side. Does that make sense?
Okay, we'll go with that.
So what I did was, I have like, okay. All the nano coating is on the back, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside. And I never planned that. I wanted it the other way. Inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. And I don't know how I confused myself, but it made it go this way. So I went with it. So, but my big question now is, let me turn my thing so I can tell you. I don't understand why I'm getting electrical readings on all these things. Should we be getting electrical readings on everything we see?
Do you get the current or do you get voltage?
I don't know what that means.
If you put your voltmeter, does it show voltage? And if you put the meter on an amp, does it show amperage? Voltage means there is a potential in the difference between each container. Current means there is a flow of plasma or current from one tank to the other. And then we measure the amount of it.
Okay, let me explain this, Dr. Keshe. I have connected all 6 containers through a nano-coated rod and nano-coated pieces all the way across. Just like Sandor said, I made a complete connection from one end to the other, all the way through, from this side to this side.
Have you got a meter with you anywhere?
I have a meter right here.
Okay, take a measure where there is a raw, non-nano-coated. Put one end on the metal outside and one on the end.
Okay, so let me do this.
On the voltmeter setting, correct, Mr. Keshe? You want a volt reading, right?
No, I want a current reading.
Okay.
And a voltage reading. The one you have a glass outside. Outside you have pipes. We see, as Rick said, like dynamites. Yeah.
This one.
No, the other. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
This one.
Put one end of the meter to that and one end on the nano-coated wire at the end.
On this side?
No, the other bottle, right on the other end. Go to the left of you.
Oh, this side.
Yeah, connected in that point, and let's see what's the reading between that and that.
Okay, hold on. You want the positive?
Doesn't matter. We just see with the negative.
I know, because sometimes it changes back and forth, and I don't understand that part either.
Because it's a plasma. It balances itself. Is a gravitational or it feeds magnetical. What do you read?
You want it set at 200 millivolts?
Millivolts and the amperage.
Okay, millivolts. Nothing.
Okay, and the amperage?
Nothing.
Okay. Leave that connected to the coppers outside and bring it to the same container. The other one, bring the black one to the same container.
Yes, I do that to both of them, everything that's made outside.
Yeah.
And we'll go to 200 millivolts. And there you go.
What do you have?
Can you see
Both,
it?
both plates are outside.
Yes, both plates are outside.
And what is your current reading?
-0. See, but if you move it, it changes.
Yeah, no, that's your voltage, the current. Change it to the current amp.
Oh, to amp, 200 milliamp. Okay. No, no, it doesn't work there. Well, let me just explain this to you. Watch this when I do this first. On this end of my whole unit, and I have a little LED light on the end, and I put the positive and negative, and I get a negative reading of 0.083.
Volt.
Well, on the millivolts, I'm getting, you know, because it's millivolts are 200, or it's my reading is. See that?
0.58. Half a volt. Does your meter have a AC? Does your meter have a AC and DC option?
I don't know. I'm just
Looks like it looks like 855 millivolts, I believe, 856 millivolts.
yes, and
Yeah.
that's at this end. Okay, now watch when I change it from this end to the other end. And it will just build up. This morning or this afternoon, it went to 700.
This is normal. And then it drops backwards.
See, now it's dropping.
Yeah. We
But-
see this. This puzzled me for years on the Coca-Cola bottle. Where you see it with the Coca-Cola bottle and it goes to, it's got a minimum and maximum. It's a conversion of the plasma in respect to the environment, more or less, how much it takes and how much the matter state will give. It just fluctuates. If you measure it during the day, it's different than during the night.
Yes. Well, no, it doesn't matter because I'm underground in a basement.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
it's
matter.
irrelevant. No.
No, you're absolutely right. Because certain times of the day when I come into the room, or if I just leave the meter alone and just set it here, like I said, it'll build power. Does
Yeah,
that
it
make
does
sense?
that. Because you're dealing with nano layers and they interact and the inertia with the earth.
So do you think I should put an earth ground on this part?
Listen to the teaching tomorrow.
Okay. And then I have one other, well, I don't need to take up any more of your time, but I just was fooling around with some things because I'm learning about how to nano coat things. And I thought, well, how do we change, make an easier step? But here's what I'm working on now. And I have one question.
This is Armand's division, making coils.
Okay.
Tell
But
me.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah, okay. I'll ask Armin because usually he's
Tell
got
me.
it.
Tell me what it is.
One question is because I made the wires go through each other and the crossover point that's here. Am I going to short things out inside here
No, you shouldn't do.
because of the nano
But
coat?
if it's nano coated, it doesn't matter. You can twist them to each other too.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So you have no problem. What are you making there?
I don't know.
Keep them, they come handy after teaching tomorrow.
One step at a time, right? Make it first, then you'll figure out a good use for it.
I have
So
an
good.
idea. I have a, you know,
I think you get a very good idea by the time I finish tomorrow what to do with it.
I think so too, because, you know, with each of these entry points, I can change the GANs. And I have the stuff from Ghana, you know, the Sopal. I have the shea butter. I'm working on that. And like I said, but I don't have enough GANs yet, CO2 GANs. I scrapped everything. I was a kooky, but I'm starting over, and I'm just happy to be part of it anyway. And this is my whole thing, and I understand a lot, and I'm very happy. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was nice seeing.
I want to at least learn, because I want to say good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
You can say that to Mr. Keshe, then you got it pretty good.
Not yet. I don't have the wisdom yet. I'm still fooling around with it. You know, we work hard and think about it.
Most of us know more than we think. It's just a matter of putting it in the right way.
Well, we all have ideas, but you have the idea, and I don't want to take up any more time. There's many other people but thank you. I'm working on that, working hard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
I have to leave. I'm going to go and start teaching about it now.
Okay,
right.
What's this one?
Have you seen my solution? This is the ultimate solution here for world peace.
The universal.
For what?
For world peace.
World peace. Oh, it's a peace gun.
A peace gun, yes. It's a GANs gun, actually, where you put your GANs inside of here, right? And it's got a little fan inside there. It's got lights that light up. Once it gets going, bubbles come out. So these are not ordinary bubbles. This is.
Rick, you got plenty of free time now.
This
you don't
is,
do much teaching.
Well, think about it. This is plasma vapor coming out with GANs bubbles, CO2 GANs bubbles, so that you can now go into the battlefield with a gun like this and create peace wherever you go. And flood the battlefield and actually create areas that decontaminate a contaminated battlefield area with the GANs materials and GANs vapor. And also, we were mentioning if someone, for example, had a burn on them and you didn't want to start putting bandages on, you just start covering them with the bubbles of the plasma vapor, plasma water, and that ends up being their second skin while they're healing from the burn problems. And meanwhile, all the other residuals are decontaminating surfaces from radioactivity or from chemical weapons or other chemicals that might be used in the battlefield. Basically, we could carpet bomb the battlefield with GANs bubbles and create peace in the battlefield. That's the concept. I'm working hard trying to come up with something, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Rick. See you later on.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Lovely to hear your voice.
Yeah, he has to go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Universal Cowboy.
Universal Cowboy. Cowboy the Universe or something like that. Cosmic Cowboy, that's it. Cosmic Cowboy.
Oh, yeah. That's so good. That's more like it, you know.
I'll have to get a holster and have 2 of these, I guess, and walk around town with it. Get a reputation. Take a few people out if you have to, you know, solve some arguments and see what happens.
You know what, after all that, you have to...
I'd like to take that gun and give a certain someone who was released by a certain alphabet agency a nice bubble bath.
Released by a certain agency with
Yeah, will not be prosecuted. Yeah, if you know what I mean.
not SA, somebody else. Okay.
Initials are HC.
I'm not sure who that is. I'll have to figure that out, I guess.
She's also nicknamed Killery.
Killer? Okay.
Killery.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I think we have to kind of wrap things up here pretty soon. I have to think about the teaching coming up as well here shortly. So, let me see. What else can we show here? Anybody else have something that the Stefan? Did you have something new lined up there with your setup you wanted to show?
Good question. I have a few things that I'm toying around with, and I'm just learning. I'm still learning, but next time I should have played with this a bit more. I could mention that on this here there was the sensors you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
the gas sensor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite interesting. You
Hmm.
could get humidity sensor, temperature sensor, which is not much. There's the EMF sensor you could get.
We need a
Now,
GANs sensor, of course. That'd be nice to create, eh? Something that tells you what percent GANs and what, if it's CO2 GANs, zinc oxide GANs, CH3 and so on, to give you the exact percents, let's say, of your combination, perhaps.
yes, that'd be something to look into, see if we can get a different reaction somewhere. Right now, the closest thing I got to that is this is a ppm reader,
Mm-hmm.
parts per million. Quite interesting. I don't know much about it yet. I just received all this stuff, and so yeah, I'm working on this. But
Yeah.
this is a ppm reader, so we got parts per million for salt and most probably GANs also.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it reads in the distilled water of the plasma water, the GANs water itself, with the GANs just being at the bottom, whether it
Well,
still registers anything.
I have a bowl here, but it's a mix of GANs water. It has a bit of residue at the bottom, but not
Mm-hmm.
much.
Right?
Could do a little test on that to see
Mm-hmm.
what it. Um,
Like technically, if you had a lot of TDS in your water and then put the CO2 GANs or the copper oxide into it, it should take out most of the TDS.
in this particular case, I get 443, which I don't really know what that corresponds to yet. I have so many little things that I have to look up that it's keeping me real busy right now.
Yep, it's a multitudinal universe in terms of this technology. You
Well,
just
I knew that this week and the next week would be really big weeks, leaps in many years. So
yeah, I think that's what's gearing up. Mr. Keshe is gearing up to start revealing more and more information and trying to get the technology accelerated faster and faster is the way I see it. And it's up to us to tag along and participate as much as we can and try to advance things as much as possible. So,
yeah,
uh,
it's been already 8 months since I've been into this, and at the beginning I thought I would I'd be putting 1,000%, but for a month or two, I wasn't expecting it to last this long. So
mhm.
things gotta get working when it comes like that, and this is a lot to deal with. There's a lot of issues at hand.
Yes, that's right, and not just experimental things or not just technical issues or scientific issues, but actual issues with the way we feel about things and about ourselves and inner experiences and so on become more important perhaps than
Well,
the outer results that we're getting.
I wonder what you think. There's three people within the months that have popped in, and they're all related in some sort to underground. So, when you got guys popping in and talking about certain things we never heard before, either because they're part of the government and they've seen secret programs and stuff like that, and we get used to how can I say? I know when somebody says information that I've never heard in my life, it means something. If you know what And these people are popping out.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. The closer we get to what's true in terms of our experiments and our concepts, the
Yeah.
more people will tend to show their faces that have already been involved perhaps in this kind of stuff for years. And some of these secret programs, they look at
This,
what we're doing as total kindergarten and so on. And on the other hand, maybe some of those programs aren't as advanced as we were led to believe they are, and we are actually on the leading edge of knowing how the fields work rather than them. So
yeah.
they might
Yes.
be looking to us for help or clues or, out of the mouths of babes, and we're the babes,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we can just fall into the right answers just because we have the right intentions and so on. So I think
Right.
that's a case much of the time here, and that's one of our sort of our aces that we're carrying in our hand, is that we're able to be very mobile and malleable, we might say, and change our ideas quickly and use our base concepts ideas in different ways and think in different terms and so on and so forth. Where someone that's been stuck in a government lab for 30 years doing the same old thing and not talking to all their friends because they've been isolated and only allowed to do certain very specific experiments that they're very, very good at, but they have no clue what that relates to in anything else in the universe. and
Yeah.
and so on.
That's
And
people I've been meeting.
and so, we don't hold back on that kind of thing generally, and it's a matter of if someone discovers something, we like to share it and we like to get it out so we can advance the knowledge and the teaching rather than hold on to it for, getting that ultimate patent so we can control all the money of the world, whatever.
Well, once everything's cleared up and that we know what to do, then it's far easier. But it got complicated when it was complicated very much. It still is. But anyway, you understand my point of view. And the first contact is with human beings, and that's a hard fact to understand. But that's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mark, you
Beautiful.
wanted to say something there, Mark? Or are you saying, go
Well,
ahead?
I got a couple of basic questions, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
John can answer them, because we haven't heard from John.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, John. Are you still up? Awake? Are you awake, John?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hi, John. Because
Hey,
you're. Hi. How are you, buddy?
good.
How's all your stuff going?
Pretty good. I screwed up on the meter reading, so ignore the chart that I put up on the net.
I saw that. Whoops, in the plasma reactor group comments there.
Yeah, I read
So,
the wrong meter, but I redid my numbers and it went from 900 to 600, and then I'm down to 533 today. So it's still dropping, which is
right
good.
on. Yep.
That's excellent.
Might end up being better than before.
Hopefully.
Well, absolutely, it will be.
What can I do you for?
So let me ask you this. So it's not much of a technical question, but at least you might be able to tell me. So uh, when I made my system up here that Mr. Keshe just commented on, I have some raw numbers, and I know it's getting late, but if I could just run this by you real quick. when I used the for the salt water, I estimated, well, I didn't estimate. I went to calculations.com or whatever. I have 5 gallons of water, and I used 2 pounds of Himalayan salt, which comes out to the 2 pounds of salt comes out to 907 grams, 9.70. I don't know what that means.
Grams, 454 grams in a pound.
Okay. See, you're smarter than me. So, and then the water, it said on the water, for 5 gallons of water, it gave me 18927.095 grams.
Yeah, okay, I can't make that conversion that fast, but
I know, but it was,
which would be 20 kilograms.
right.
So you
Okay.
got 18 kilograms, 18.92 or 3. So it's very close. Yeah.
very close. So in the conversion, the question I'm asking you is, from salt to water, does that mean that I put for every part of salt, 20 parts water to 1 part salt?
That's 5%.
Is that the equation that I did right there? Is that what that means?
20 to 1 is 5%.
Is 5%. Okay, thank you. So so in my containers, I went 2 to 1. So parts per water. You know what I'm saying? So I went, so the salt content of the water would only be 2 to 1. So if I had 20 grams of salt, that's the part that's messing me up.
Okay, multiply them both by, you got 20 parts water to 1 part salt for 5%, right?
Right.
And you're looking for a 5% solution?
I don't know. That's what it came out to. I'm not a mathematician, and
Well, what do you want to end up with as your salt solution? Like, people have used anywhere from 2.5%, which is the average like sea salt from an ocean, up to 25%, which is 10 times that amount in some circumstances. Generally, it's around 10%, John?
When I discussed this with Vivek, is that the location matters. If I use the same concentration that Vivek uses, I get nothing. If he uses the concentration that I use, he gets nothing.
Right.
So I use roughly 8.3%. It's a half a cup in 6 cups of water.
That's kind of what I tried to base this on, and because I have a 1 gallon container. Okay.
Well, hang on. If I think the base number that we start with is 10%. Okay, which is 10% salt in your water solution, which is a starting point. You're going to want to adjust it. You can add a little more water or a little more salt if you're not getting the results you're looking for. Okay, so your numbers, your 20 to 1 is at 5%.
Right.
So 20 to 2 or 10 to 1 is going to give you 10%. Okay, so if you have 5 gallons of 20 liters of water for 10%, you need 200 milliliters of salt.
Which I had. Oh, okay. Wait.
Which is a little more than, or a little under 2 cups. No, wait a minute. Yeah, 175 milliliters in a cup. So it's a little more than a cup of water.
A little more than
a cup of salt, I should say.
So that's what I've got. So that's where so my numbers are correct from your calculations.
Well, it's just a ratio.
I know.
I mean, your 21.
Actually,
your 21 is 5%. So if you want 10%, you double the small number. It'd be 20 to 2. If you want 20%, it'd be 20 to 4.
Which would be 4, which almost 20.8, which would make it 20, almost 21, which would only make it 42. Okay, I see what you're saying. I got
Okay, it's just a ratio. And once you see how to work with the ratios, they're really easy.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So then the ratio, so now I have an even ratio is what I thought. So then I took a pH reading of it, of all 6 containers.
Okay.
And wow, they were absolute. I took a reading from the start, and now it's 3 days in, and I have the one that is the power end, like I told, like when I I don't know if you've seen when I changed the meter from one end to the other. Mr. Keshe asked me to go from outside nano code to inside, test the, and I could probably do it now, but it's a very low reading.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go from, like Sandor said, it's a 6 container unit. So when I put I have an LED light at the very end, on one end of the container, and it just makes a continuous loop through the LED. And I should know the millivolts for the LED. It's a high millivolt. And if I
LEDs typically trigger at about 120 millivolts.
How much?
About 120. Well, it depends. It depends on the diode. A normal, the large size diode, like you'd find in the front of a guitar amplifier, if I remember right, they're about 120 millivolts. Or sorry, 100, yeah, no, I can't even remember this stuff anymore. It's been too long. Yeah, the breakdown would be 1.2. They'll trigger about 1.2 to 2, and 2.2. Anything above 2.2, they pop. And the current is really low. The current is like very low. Round white LED. Do they give a voltage reading on those? They give a required reading or a resistor that's required for a voltage? It's not.
I want to focus.
Yeah, it's not focusing at all. There we go.
What do we got?
3.6 volts. 20 milliamps. There we go.
Right.
So that's at the end of the loop.
Yep.
And at the other end of the loop, which I took the meter and showed them, it's a building. It builds power at the other end.
Uh-huh.
The LED is on this end of the 6 containers. And when I took that reading, it's a very low reading. It's like a 6 or 0.062 millivolts.
Okay. Keep in mind the diodes you're using, the LEDs, they're not like a light bulb. Okay. They're more like a pressure controlled valve. Where if you don't hit the breakdown current of the diode, it blocks the current. There's no flow through it. Okay. When you reach that breakdown voltage, then they conduct.
Oh, it makes the connection.
Connection's not hooked up right, then it won't
If
work
you have
either way.
reverse bias, they won't conduct at all.
So
because they're like a one-way valve as well.
Yeah.
It should be a one-way connection, right?
Yeah, but it depends on which way you have your LED hooked up. There's a long wire and a short wire on it usually, and there's a anode and cathode, and if you don't have it hooked up right, then it could be just stopping the flow there rather than allowing a little bit.
I have it right.
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the cathode is your negative potential.
And that would be on the nano side, right?
Let me think.
So.
Yes.
Mark, if you got a complete loop of wire on your boxes there, you should have a diode on each end, I would think.
What does that mean, Lee?
I mean, you're short circuited at one end and you've got the diode on the other end, so your
What's
diode is doing nothing.
What's
No,
a
he's
diode?
all of his containers, if I understood him correctly, all his containers are in series.
Yes.
Yeah, but are each end connected together? He said he had a loop.
Yeah, it goes into one container, out of that container into the next one, out of that one into the next one. And when it reaches the end, it comes back to the first one. It's just one single wire loop around.
Okay, but at the other end, is it looped again at the other end, or is it?
There's only one loop.
Oh, shoot.
A loop is a circle, a full circle.
That's right. And it's got on one side of that loop, it's got 6 containers. Yeah, the long lead is your cathode. That'll be your negative.
Right. And the way I wired it is the long one went to the negative, or to the all the
nano coated.
all the nano coated.
Okay,
Yep,
that
okay.
makes sense.
They won't. You're not going to light that diode up.
It doesn't light up.
No, it won't. It won't.
Okay, so I think I should.
What, because of the voltage, you mean, John, or what's?
Millivolt diodes.
Pardon me. Sorry.
Oh, you need to, if you want to see light, you need little teeny tiny diodes.
Right. Right.
Extremely small ones, and they're really expensive.
But it's really creating a draw.
To some extent, yes. To some extent, it blocks until the voltage builds to a certain level. Then it'll conduct, drain that voltage off. So it's kind of acting like a voltage regulator.
Right. Would it send the voltage or whatever matter back loop? You know, like once it hits the light, would it go back through? And
Well, no. Think about on one side of the diode, you've got pressure building up. When the pressure builds up to a certain point, the diode opens, allows the pressure to equalize.
Which makes light, right?
If you have enough pressure, yes. But you don't have enough, so you're not going to see diode light up.
Pressure would start from starting point here, move around the container, come back to the diode, which is in the light. If there's not enough pressure, it sends the plasma or the energy back through the nano-coated wire, which is through all the 6 containers, and is now at this point, at the end point, back through the,
No, that's not the way the potential is going to work.
Yeah, usually it's just like
your
holding
containers are the build potential. Okay, they're going the potential voltage is pressure. Okay, think of voltage like water pressure. Okay,
yeah,
your
containers don't have any pressure in it.
No. We're talking about electricity.
Okay.
But think about the voltage like water pressure. Okay, water pressure flowing through that wire, which is the pipe. Okay, now you've also got some liquid in there, which is kind of confusing the issue, but it's think of that just like another wire. Okay, at this point, just for now. You've got the 5 containers where you have a galvanic response, which is creating the pressure, but it only creates it in one direction. Okay, it's only going to want to go and flow from one end to the other in one direction only. Okay, it's flowing towards your diode. The diode, you don't have enough pressure to make the diode conduct. So the valve that diode is stays closed. So the pressure that's in your galvanic containers, your 5 containers, is going to build and build and build, trying to go in that direction until it reaches a certain point, certain amount of pressure, certain voltage, where the diode will conduct, which will equalize the pressure because it'll allow it to flow back to the beginning. And if you have a very sensitive oscilloscope on the wire that goes back to the beginning of your array, every once in a while you'll see a little spike. Boonk, boonk. As the diode conducts, you'll have a little spike of energy, which is that energy equalizing from the front to the back of your containers. And then the process starts again. The electrons move towards the diode, build up on that end of your system until the diode can conduct again, which lets them through. It equalizes everything, and then it starts to build again.
You could call it a cascade that happens at that point. It builds up, and then it cascades all at once and rushes through.
Yep.
Till it drops down again in voltage, and then it stops again like a drawbridge,
Yep.
basically, and
Almost like a repeating, because it's going this way first. Once it hits the diode, it's not enough power. It says to itself, "Go back."
well, it doesn't go back though. It just hangs out there waiting instead.
It stands at the door.
Because it's got the pressure behind it already. The pressure's there. It's waiting at the door, but the door's not open. It's like the pressure's on the door, but nothing's happening. There's no work going on because everybody's in standby mode. As soon as they go through the door, that's when the work happens. Then there's motion, there's movement of those electrons. Otherwise, it's just a pressure.
Yeah.
So, do you understand why Mr. Keshe wanted me to try to take a reading from the outside pipes?
We're looking to see if you're getting some type of a response without having the electrolyte in there, the water, the salt water. If you have two dissimilar metals, doesn't matter what the metals are, zinc and copper, iron and brass, gold and silver, it doesn't matter what the metals are. As long as they're dissimilar metals in salt water, you have a galvanic response. You have a battery. Okay. Certain metals work really good. Certain metals don't work really good, but they all have some galvanic response.
And it could be an acid or an alkaline too, not just salt water, but anything that has ions in it basically will have that same response.
That's right. If your metals are on the outside of the container, then if you have a voltage reading on that system, you've either got a very acidic or a very alkaline environment, the air you're breathing, or you've got a plasma buildup.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have no galvanic response at that point.
Because it's all net. It's plasma in the water.
Well, it's a plasma field surrounding, or a plasma field creating a potential between the two dry plates.
Oh, okay. We don't know how long that might take.
It's instantaneous.
We don't know how to measure that, right?
Be between containers.
Yeah, the only measurement we can make is a voltage measurement, because that's the only tools we have. Now, the voltage measurement, if you measure like microvolts, that's a little teeny tiny sliver of the potential plasma energy. But it's not telling you how much plasma you have. It's only telling you that it exists.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you think I should have a nano-coated wire going from the outs? I have outside ones going from one to the other for a crossover. They're not anywhere connected to the water or to the, well, they are connected to the container, and I did nano coat the container, and I the process in which I did that. So do you think that I should or shouldn't have, because I jumped it, I put a jumper wire across from the raw copper to the raw nano coated pipes.
Frankly, I don't think it matters, because as soon as you have a plasma flow, you're going to nano coat your wires. Now, it may be a very, very fine nano coating and it's not visible. It doesn't mean it's not there.
No, I know that. But do you think I'm creating not creating a loop by putting that connected wire from the nano coated out, because it's on the I could show you again, but I have a nano coated 14 gauge wire going from raw to nano on the outside.
I don't think it really matters. I think the purpose of the wire is to give the plasma something to do.
Go back and forth.
Well, give it a reason to be there. Because we know that you can have a static plasma field. If you just have a generator and it does nothing, it's just going to sit there until you give it a purpose.
Right.
Adding that return wire, you're giving it a purpose. You're giving it a reason to move and to flow.
to talk to one another, to have a reason to go in the water, out of the water, from the plates, from a positive plate to a negative plate to create a field.
That's right. And it's a simple, easy way for us to set an intent in the plasma.
Which is produced in the water, or physically we can see that in the water.
Well, if you just have a nano-coated plate and a zinc plate in a tub of water, you're going to have very strong intent to have a flow of plasma there.
Say that
if
again.
You connect the two together, it's a very clear intent that you want a plasma flow.
Well, I have that.
I know. So the question you're asking is, should you have a wire connecting the two, or should it be copper? Should it be nano-coated copper? I don't think it matters.
Okay.
The original setup had
because just because I have some on the inside of the water and some on the outside of the containers with not even touching the water. And like I was saying, with the 6, only we have 3 basic elements that we're using, the CH3, the CO2, and the CuO. I wanted to put them 1, 2, 1, 2, and it just didn't work out where who knows why I did it. Universe told me to do it or whatever, but I have 2, 1 out, in, and it turned out odd, but it's generating different fields.
Yep. If you want to generate a really strong flow through your system, put your heavy production GAN system at one end and your light production GAN system at the other end. And the light system is where everything is going to go to.
So do you think Cu or the iron, I have on the one end in the water, all iron, an iron plate, an iron cast iron, or a black iron pipe, and then a nano-coated iron plate. But I'm just not, I nano-coated, I tried to nano-coat an iron plate for 10 days, never seen any difference.
You may not.
You won't, will you?
Well,
it starts out black anyway. It has a lot of
nano iron looks like.
There's different kinds of nano coating for iron. They have a black coating now that is common on tools and so on, but there's also the most common coating is red. We call it rust.
Well, there's rusty busty in there. I think that's what makes the red deposits. Because, like I said, I took I asked welders, people that work with steel. I've worked around people my whole life that welded steel. Steel has to have a higher content of iron in it in order to weld it, because if you had not an alkaline, but an alloy in the steel, you can't weld it because it produces toxic fumes. So a welder will tell you, as soon as I weld the steel, as soon as I put the weld to it, it's bad. He'll smell it. It makes a lot of smoke. He'll know that it's a bad steel. Like
that depends on the adjunct in the steel.
That's what I'm
every steel has some sort of adjunct in it. Just about every steel has sulfur, vanadium. Steel is not just iron and carbon.
Right.
There's a lot.
Ones are the ones that give you the less smoke, though. Am I correct?
Well, it depends on the type of steel, right?
You can have. Yeah, generally is what's called mild steel that is used for welding, and it's not so much the smoke you're worried about in that case, unless you're using certain kinds of welding rods that have coatings on them that can give a lot of smoke. Generally, the smoke is from improper welding process.
Designated 1018, which is basically the same stuff you get in angle iron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, They call it mild steel. Mild steel simply means that it has a relatively high carbon content, somewhere around 3%. Okay. You can also have very, very tough, very strong steels like a D2 or an H13, which is still iron and carbon, but they have tungsten in it. They have vanadium in it. So they'll add silicone for machinability. They'll add sulfur for strength.
Yeah, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that at Home Depot.
D2 is typically used for bulldozer blades.
Yeah, you won't get that at Home Depot so much unless you got.
Is going to be a fairly a decent piece of steel. Okay, it's not just the bunky cold rolled that you go and buy cheap.
Right.
Now, if you want iron, proper iron, you're going to get either cast iron or pig iron, which has got an extremely high carbon content. Okay, it's up in around 20%. It's a dull gray. It doesn't get shiny. It's very brittle. It's very grainy. That's iron, right? As you drop in carbon content, this is one of the mistakes a lot of people make. As you drop in iron content from iron to steel, you get harder and harder and harder steels. Like an air hardening steel, like a D2, it's got a very low. It's like 1.2 or I think 0.8 to 1.2% carbon.
And like black pipe, like like your standard black pipe that you get from Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, your big box.
Yeah, that's somewhere in around. I'd have to look it up. I got my book here. I can look it up, but it's going to take me a few minutes. That's going to be somewhere around 8 to 12% carbon.
Anyway, guys, I got to cut things off here and end the show for today. But where were we going with the carbon? Where were we going with the steel again with that? Just in terms of creating
I was
GANs?
Just mentioning that if he wants a really strong gradient in his plasma fields, to go from a heavy GANs to a light GANs with the diode at the light GANs end.
Okay.
Right, and the CH3 GANs being the light GANs in this case, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The iron on one end and the zinc plates on the other.
Copper.
Or copper, actually. The copper oxide would be the heavy.
Copper on the end, and then iron on the other end.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for making it so long.
Well, we'll see how your results are next week. Maybe you'll find something that works with that.
We're just creating stuff, so.
Yep, right on.
Just thankful that Mr. Keshe came in.
Alrighty, well, gonna end things for today, everybody. It's been a good show. I really appreciate all the input. Thank you so much. It's really cool. And
thanks so much.
And maybe we'll be able to create peace guns in the future to go for a little better, a better future for mankind, humankind. Sorry.
Consider it done.
Next week we'll see all these different bubble guns coming out, perhaps.
Watch out for the universal cowboy.
Yeah, cosmic cowboy. Cosmic cowboy.
That's
been done already, unfortunately. Alrighty, so I'll end the live stream. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Keshe Plasma Reactor group.